Now let's listen to some of the opening comments by high-level delegates at the start of the African Customs Summit today here in Abuja. Take a listen, everyone.
We need to stir the consciousness around the role of customs in the AFCFTA ecosystem. The agreement is ambitious and necessary, but without customs administrations that are equipped, coordinated, and actively engaged, we will be building a house without a foundation. In those discussions with the Secretary General, a critical point emerged that I believe should frame our work today and in the next 2 days. And that is the fact that customs all over the world are the custodians of trade data. We hold the most granular real-time information on what is actually moving across our borders, what is being traded, where it is going, what the values are. This data, when properly harnessed and shared, becomes essential intelligence for driving continental trade objectives. The SG was very emphatic about this in some few days when we met. If AFCFTA is to succeed, customs must leverage our unique position as data custodians to better serve the continental agenda. These conversations were not one-sided. We have also been engaging the WCO Secretariat on how best to equip customs on the continent to take up our responsibility in promoting AFCFTA. From those exchanges, a consistent theme has emerged, one that I believe is fundamental to our success, and that is the imperative of regional ownership and collective discipline in our approach to AFCFTA implementation. What we do with these continental agreements cannot be driven from outside our continent. It must be anchored in African realities, led by African institutions, and sustained by African commitments. More recently, during discussions with Afrexim Bank, particularly in my last engagement with the Vice President in Cairo, this conversation has centered on something equally crucial, and that is the need for more institutional integration of resources and systems that complement each other in advancing AFCFTA. We cannot continue to work in silos. Our trade finance mechanisms, customs procedures, payment systems, and regulatory frameworks need to speak to one another. That integration is what will lead and translate to policy ambition into operational reality.
FMITI's close and purposeful collaboration with the Nigerian Customs Service, particularly with initiatives such as the National Single Window Project, is strengthening our collective role as a true trade facilitation institution. To unlock Africa's full AFCFTA potential, we all must continue to work together to develop predictable, simplified, and digitized procedures, especially for SMEs, which make up over 80% of African businesses. Ensure that AFCFTA certificates of origin and other documentation do not become hidden costs or barriers. Move forward fully digitized, interoperable, and cost-free AFCFTA certificates of origin accessible to all African traders. AFCFTA certificates of origin are a key matrix of implementation. High rates of certificate issuance signal two fundamental indicators of economic transformation. One, strong and growing intra-African trade flows, and two, high levels of domestic production geared towards the African market. Every other outcome we aspire to, from job creation to improved livelihoods to increased government revenue flows from this powerful intersection of industrialization and trade across the length and breadth of Africa, ensuring peace and prosperity for all. Your Excellencies, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, the global trade landscape is shifting before our eyes. Across the world, services have overtaken goods as the primary engine for international trade. now accounting for over half of global trade value. Here in Nigeria, services already contributes more than 50% of our GDP, driven by finance, professional services, technology, and retail. This reality reflects a broader African and global trend, one that reminds us that our continent's growth path cannot be either or. The future isn't trade in goods or trade in services. It's goods and services. And this is how we will create jobs, expand exports, and build prosperity. In February 2025, the 38th Ordinary Session of the Assemblies of African Union Heads of State and Government named Nigeria as co-champion of digital trade under the AFCFTA, alongside Kenya and South Africa. Since then, FMITI has worked closely with the AFCFTA Secretariat, and the Secretary General is here, in this leadership capacity to develop a comprehensive implementation strategy for the Digital Trade Protocol, covering digital inclusion, access to data, data for development, and enhanced digital public infrastructure across Africa.
Customs administrations occupy at the center of implementation of the AFCFTA. We have transitioned from negotiations ably led by the Ministers of Trade. We are now in implementation mode. And in order for us to fully implement the AFCFTA and achieve the results that all of us desire to see, the leadership role of customs authorities is absolutely essential. And that is why the Customs Partnership for African Cooperation in Trade is an instrument that is indispensable as we implement the AFCFTA. In 3 provisions of the AFCFTA, in 3 annexes, the Annex on Customs Cooperation, the Annex on Trade Facilitation, as well as the Annex on Transit, we shall require the leadership of customs authorities. The implementation of rules of origin, the identification of products and the origin of these products rests primarily with customs authorities. To support this work, the AFCFTA Secretariat commits to collaborate closely with customs authorities and, of course, the private sector, the drivers of trade in Africa. In this regard, I want to congratulate the government of Nigeria. The report that Dr. Oduwale gave us about all of the hard work that has been achieved over the last few months certainly is commendable. The Nigerian Bureau of Statistics states that Nigeria's largest export destination as we speak today is the African continent. And this, in my view, is a result of the realization by the government of Nigeria and the private sector of Nigeria that there are opportunities that are presented through the AFCFTA, not only in the services sector, but most importantly also in the creative industries. And so we look forward to continuing to work with our customs authorities through the MOU that we have signed.
Central to Nigeria's continental trade strategy is the National Single Window, a transformative digital platform whose phase 1 goes live in March 2026 with full rollout by December 2026. It will allow businesses to submit import and export information once through a unified portal, automate interagency data sharing and real-time processing. The National Single Window positions Nigeria as a continental standard bearer for customs, digitalization, and seamless inter-African commerce. We believe that fragmented markets cannot achieve industrial scale, negotiate effectively with global powers, or withstand external shocks. Integration, however, enables large-scale industrialization, collective bargaining strength, and resilient supply chains. Nigeria approaches this responsibility with practical systems and infrastructure, not rhetoric. The strength of a continental market cannot be declared. It must be engineered.